What's up, buddy?
Guys are doing great so far.
Absolutely. He moved away when I tried to kiss him on the forehead.
It's the homies. Good night.
Can't hear you, bro. Can't hear you.
My bad. I left myself muted. I said, "What's up, boy?"
What's up? Now I can hear you. Moved away when I tried to kiss you on the forehead.
No, see, there's just a little bit of a delay there. It connected.
Okay, good.
There was full connection there.
Because we got the Broncos boys here.
Hey, we're happy Broncos fans again because
Yeah,
there's now optimism for next season.
a little bit.
Maybe.
That's why I finally bought a jersey.
Maybe we'll see who they hire as head coach. Who are you feeling, Joe? Who are your top head coach candidates right now for the Denver Broncos? We know we've interviewed 7 or 8 different people at this point now already. You know, we're just 4 days removed from the end of the NFL regular season.
Yeah. I mean, my number one by far is Harbaugh. I think it's been him since Condoleezza Rice was announced as one of the part owners, man.
Which underrated owner edition, I have to say.
Yeah. If we can, because we also we interviewed David Shaw too. So I'm like, is David Shaw gonna come in as his OC? You know,
Right.
He's who I think it's going to be, and he's who I want it to be. I'm not a fan of one that I know you're a particular fan of, though. Care to try and convince me a little bit here?
Well, so who you're referring to is Sean Payton, of course, which I like Harbaugh as well. Before I get into the Sean Payton thing, I want to just clarify Sean Payton and Harbaugh on the same level for me right now.
Mhm.
I definitely, for a long time, I leaned Sean Payton. Or I'm sorry, for a long time I leaned Harbaugh because I didn't want to give up the draft pick, right? Because I think we're not in a position as the Denver Broncos to be giving away any more draft picks. We've got some holes, some glaring holes that we all know. Biggest one, I would say O-line. And at that point in the draft, as you mentioned earlier in our conversation off air, at that portion of the draft, English, it's going to be the 49ers picks. We're looking probably 28 to 32, and that's pretty prime to get a solid right tackle in the draft. It's usually about where they go. But on the other hand, I do think of it in a way as well of, we weren't expecting to have a first-round draft pick going into this season. So I'm kind of indifferent on the draft pick. As much as I would love the tackle move there, I'm hoping that Payton goes out and spends as much money as George Payton is who I'm talking about, the Broncos GM. That can get very confusing, by the way, if Sean Payton gets hired and then Peyton Manning gets a front office position eventually. It's all going to get very, very confusing.
And they're all spelled differently too, which is the worst part.
Right. Pronounced the same, spelled differently. But I'm hoping George Payton goes out, shores up the O-line in the draft, or I'm sorry, in free agency, and makes me not really question that draft pick. In an ideal situation, we pay off the Saints with all cash, and we're not worried about this draft pick, and we have this draft pick. In an ideal situation, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
the Saints are gonna take the best offer. I don't know about coaches' contracts, but I don't know if a coach has a no trade clause in their contract. This is kind of unprecedented, So I'm imagining the Saints take the highest offer, which would, $50-75 million be better than a first and second round draft pick or a first and fourth? I don't know. I'm not the Saints organization. I don't know their books. I don't know their whole situation,
Yeah.
But So they're on the same level for me. Is what I'm getting at. I'm indifferent on who, one way or the other. I'm happy. Talking off air, man, you really leaned me back to Harbaugh, though. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Dude, Harbaugh, like, he's just number one for me. Sean Payton, obviously, I'm not going to be upset if Sean Payton, like, he has proven that he's got skill as a coach. I think he should be the number one target for most of the teams here. Uh, correct.
It is not Wednesday. You're one of those thinker types, huh? You're observant. I like you. Facts.
I'm starting to wonder though, is McVay going to step away? Because that's been in the talks a little bit, And if McVay steps away, Peyton's said he wants to stay in LA. And also, we're both Broncos fans. We both watched the game. I heard that if Mr. Mike Williams was not healthy to play for the game in wild card, that somebody might have been relieved of duties if he was actually legitimately hurt.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
So that would be 2 of the LA jobs wide open. And if the Chargers job is wide open, that's a better job to take for Peyton than the Broncos is.
And then, if the Rams job opens up, that's just one of the most ideal situations there,
Is it though?
For Sean Payton.
Yeah, for his system, for his scheme, it fits well. They already have.
And then being in LA is a huge part of it too,
Yeah. I don't know. If I was Sean Payton, my number one place I'd want to go is Arizona, though. I was kind of talking with James about it yesterday. I think, to me, Arizona would be the number one that I'd want to go to.
This guy?
Yeah, this guy says he can't be here, and then he's here. Rude.
See, I kind of did the same thing yesterday, but mine was I couldn't be here. Here,
yes,
know,
yes,
and a lot here too.
But I don't know. I don't want to give up the first. If it was like a third for him, I could deal with it.
Do you really think though that Sean Payton's going to require a first?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably it's going to come down to probably a bidding war at some point. Well, and it'll probably get to there.
It would take a first by us with where we have, right? I think it would take a second for Arizona. Arizona has picked 35.
See that's if. Oh, so you're saying it would take? Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, if we put up our second versus their second's higher. You know, so it would take a first by us in order to get him.
Is the Rams second that much higher though, or that much lower? I don't think it is. Not far, at least.
Not far, but it's still.
I see what you're saying though. Their second is worth more than our second for sure.
Yeah. So I think it would absolutely take our first, and that's where I'm like I draw the line. Like I would do it too. I would not be a fan of it, but I'd do it. A 3, I'd do no question. A 1, I would just feel like it's too much. The sort of players you can get around that area, like Ryan Ramczyk was picked 26 of the first round.
Right.
He's been a absolute stalwart at right tackle since he came into the league.
It happens every year at that range of the first round of a stud lineman going.
You got Creed for the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he picked 29?
Yeah, some 29, 30, something like that. He's at the back end of the first round.
I just really like the offensive line talent that's at that position. Generally, like if we had picked 15, I'd be like, this is where you either overdraft a guy or a guy fell because of concerns.
Right.
It's where I'm like, whatever. But that is where you get a majority of them. I just
I agree, and that's why I was saying our offline conversation. I kind of had them here. Harbaugh might have taken just that little step up because I really do. I want that draft pick, man. I don't like we've been talking about. I don't think we're in a position to give up a premium pick like that. To where for a coach to where I just don't. I don't think the reason why I had them here neck and neck is because I don't think one of them is really any better than the other at the end of the day.
Harbaugh's got a track record of rebuilding. Sean Payton's got a track record of stability.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we don't stability right now. If we're stable, we're just still sucking. We need to rebuild. So I think that's my main reason for having him up there, because we talked off air a little bit. I don't even have Sean Payton at 2 or 3 for me.
Right.
As far as for the Broncos, I think he's a phenomenal coach.
And that actually, I just got a comment over here on TikTok of Jim Caldwell is underrated.
Jim Caldwell,
something that you were talking about earlier.
Jim Caldwell is my number 3, who I would want as my 3rd spot. If Harbaugh goes somewhere else, Colts have been mentioned with Harbaugh. If he goes somewhere else and Dan Quinn doesn't end up wanting to leave, which, spoiler, Dan Quinn's my number 2. If Dan Quinn doesn't want to leave the Cowboys, Jim Caldwell's my number 3 choice. His work in Detroit, I love what he did there.
Absolutely.
And he was QB coach for Peyton Manning in Indy. He's got a good track record as well. Just hasn't really gotten as many opportunities because of issues that are in the NFL. But I don't know. I like those rebuilding types more than the stability, because a main concern I have with Sean Payton is he is considered an offensive guru, and I'm tired of gurus. Give me just somebody who leads the team as a whole.
No, that's completely fair. Dan Quinn, he was my number 1 last offseason. I think I'd put Jim Caldwell over him personally for me. Mm-hmm. Just because, like I've told you, I'm not 100% sold on Dan Quinn, although you made some pretty intriguing points about him, with his track record of hiring great offensive coordinators. And then what we've seen on the field, he gets guys not only ready to play, but willing to play and play like there's not another play that's going to happen again in their life.
But does the Micah Parsons thing then sway you to make him number 2 over Jim Caldwell?
If Micah Parsons' comment is true and he is a package deal with Dan Quinn, 100%, he is at the top of the board. I mean, he breaks through the ceiling at that point.
Yeah.
If that comment is true,
Harbaugh who? Give me Dan Quinn, give me Micah Parsons.
Right. If Micah Parsons is coming on, I will take that 100%.
Sign me up, coach.
Right. You want to win? Put Booby in.
Oh God. But I don't know. I don't think Dan Quinn goes anywhere other than Denver, though.
As far as who we've interviewed, though, couldn't be more ecstatic. It seems like they're bringing in the right guys this go around, seemingly. We've interviewed the 4 guys we talked about, plus Evero, who was our defensive coordinator already on our staff, and then I forget I think there was 1 or 2 other guys, but it seems like they're bringing the right guys in.
Niners defensive coordinator.
And a lot of the D'Amico Ryans,
that we interviewed him, or we're going to. He's lined up for when their season's over.
So including with Ryans, all these guys seemingly have very similar attributes to their coaching styles,
Hmm.
in which a lot of them are no nonsense, put your foot down, let's play football.
Hmm.
Let's play clean football. Let's go out there and do what we have to do to go win this game. And I think those, are very, very important qualities of our next head coach. And I think they're hitting it on the head as far as who they're interviewing. Let's see who they hire at this point.
Yep. I I'd like us to get it done fast, to be honest.
I agree. As fast as possible. Do you think though, if say Harbaugh, Sean Payton, you think if they get hired, do you think George Payton's out the door, the GM, after the draft? Usually with GMs that happens after the draft.
Um, I can see it. I can also see it not being that way because, like, Harbaugh did want more power, and that was the issue that he had with San Francisco when that happened. Uh, Peyton did kind of similar things with New Orleans as well. Um, but I think I think they are both smart enough football minds to realize that he does a great job scouting. Like, honestly, he he's done a great job scouting. He gets good players in the draft. If that is what he does and you can work well with him, I think they are smart enough football minds to realize that he was highly sought after, that they can build a relationship and work well together.
And he's done several things well, being George Payton. What's the one thing he has absolutely nailed as far as being a GM goes? Drafting. The dude can draft. And I think if George Payton can work and said coach can work together, I think it'd be a perfect fit. Because like George Payton is excellent at scouting, at drafting, that kind of stuff. If he could work hand in hand with someone that like a Jim or like a Harbaugh or like a Payton, I think that'd be an excellent marriage. Just
Mm-hmm.
based on who George Payton's been his entire GM career so far.
Yeah. Um, because honestly, like the biggest problems with that Peyton has done has been the re-signings. Like, was Tim Patrick worth his contract? Was Cortland Sutton worth his contract?
Right.
Bringing back Melvin, but like
That's
other than
where
that,
like Harbaugh at Payton would step in. That's what they do more so as far as the
yeah,
player personnel side of it.
yeah,
That's why I think
um,
it works so well. Where Payton lacks, George Payton, Harbaugh or Sean Payton would pick up that slack very well.
you know, I because I don't want to lose George.
I don't either.
I think he is struggling to rebuild a team that Elway kind of squandered late in his tenure. I think he's trying to, and he's doing a good job. This last draft class, I get it, nowhere near as good as his first one, but his
Right.
first one was ungodly.
Right. Well, and
Like,
then people are expecting the fix to come overnight. I mean, think of how bad this roster was a season ago. Just right after George Payton was hired into his role,
think
or
about
two
how bad
seasons
it is
ago.
right now.
Right. And it takes a lot of time to be able to build that back up, especially when you were on a very bad losing streak. I mean, not necessarily a streak, but losing season streak.
Yep.
Free agents don't want to come somewhere and lose.
Hmm.
I know money talks, but when you're offered very equivalent money, within a couple $1 million, which isn't much as when you're talking about big contracts, they're going to go win somewhere. They're not going to go somewhere and lose over, $1 million a year,
Yep.
$1.5 million a year. They're going to go to the winning organization.
Yep. Um, I don't know. I I think I trust Peyton and I trust the football guys. Um, Dan Quinn wants to work with George Payton. So like I think of all the people, like the Walton Penner group is trying to give Peyton another chance here, because I hope they do. Like, they have said they're not huge football people, but they're trying to be, type deal. I hope they realize how amazing his first draft was.
Right.
That just give him a little bit more time, because he really did knock it out of the park. Because like, you got Surtain, Javante, Baron Browning, Quinn Miners, like all these people. It's insane.
Got a question here for Mr. Joe.
What was that coach that was brought up in that YouTube video?
She said she'll ask you later. Joe looks puzzled. You know what?
I know the video she's talking about. Because the guy drove me nuts. He was so angry. He wanted him fired. Oh God. I gotta get the.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who they brought up.
This is kind of like Jeopardy music, right? Pretty close.
Close enough. I won't remember. To be honest. But I did not. The YouTube video, the guy was angry and he wanted McDaniel fired, and I was just like, why? Why?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually heard quite a few rumblings of that, surprisingly, this offseason. Or not, I mean, not really off season. It's not off season for them yet, but I've heard that over the last few weeks about Mike McDaniels and the possibility of them wanting to get rid of him. It's like, are you serious? Like, if you do that, Dolphins will dolphin, and that'll start being a saying. It probably is in the AFC East.
But. I mean, no, that's got to be about the Jets.
Yeah, you're right.
It's got to be about the Jets.
Hey,
like,
but you know what?
The butt fumble.
You know what? The Chargers Charger and the Raiders Raiders. I mean, two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to touch on as far as the Broncos coaching search goes? Anything you're particularly looking for?
No.
I know we both just want it to be as soon as possible.
No, but I do have somewhat one thing to say. I may need to apologize to a guy named Jerry Jeudy.
This guy?
I may need to apologize to him.
So I know a lot of people really flipped their opinion on him these last 3 weeks.
I'm not exactly sold, because I still think he's going to have personality issues, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, that is unfortunately probably not going to change the off the field stuff. Hopefully it does, but
because I'm still very annoyed by him going over with Melvin and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like all, but he actually showed the talent a little bit.
So what I saw is these last few weeks, everything that people say about him being able to get open is absolutely true.
He can.
100% true. And if they get the ball in his hands, he's electric. And I really like that you started seeing, since Hackett was fired, using him like Deebo Samuel. We don't use him. Let me. I don't want them to use him 100% like Deebo Samuel, but you started seeing them using him on some jet sweeps. You started seeing him, that the one play I specifically remember, I feel like they ran it 20 times over the last few weeks. Jerry Jeudy come in motion across the field and then just kept going and stayed in the flat and stood there. 99% of the time, no one was in 15 yards of him. And every time Russ got the ball to him, he got at least 10 or 15 yards.
Yep.
I like that they're scheming ways to get they schemed ways to get the ball into his hand.
It also feels like maybe him and Russ finally started to click in those final few weeks. That he finally became the X, because that's as far as the receiver court goes. He needs to be the X. Tim needs to be the other outside wide receiver. And Court needs to be the big slot. He needs to adopt the Mike Evans role and become the big slot.
And that's what he was his first few years here. You know,
no, he was, but he was also he doesn't leave ground as much as he used to.
No, I think that's a lot to do with the knee.
He doesn't go up and fight for the ball.
Although I did start seeing it a lot more these last few weeks.
To me, this year he reminded me a lot of Anquan Bolden, a guy that is just a short possession guy, which is perfectly fine. I mean, it's more often what you see from tight ends, but I mean, I'm fine with that. It just adopt the role and stick to it, you know.
See, and I think
line Jerry up in the X.
I think they schemed him into that role. I really give the coaches a lot of credit. I think they saw this and they were like, and they ran with it. I really give the coaches a lot of credit for these last couple of weeks, because the team totally looked different, 100% different. They were ready to play. The offense, when the plays that were called seemed to be called for a reason. They weren't just, hey, let's try this play, let's try that play. They were setting up plays. They were running the ball out of certain formations in order to set up play action later in the game. It seemed like they had a game plan. Like they knew what they wanted to do, and then they did it.
And like Nathaniel Hackett was really good at scheming players open too. Like, I'm not going to throw him under the bus. Players were open a lot when he was scheming up the plays and everything. It's just the players he was scheming up was not where Russell was looking. Him and Russ were not on the same page.
It almost seemed like he was calling plays for a number 2 receiver. Like he was always calling plays for the backside to be open. You know, it's almost what it seemed like, which will work at points. It's not always going to work. You know, you're not. And what we saw with this team and this O-line specifically, you're not always going to have time to get to that backside.
Yeah.
A lot of the time with Russ, he really didn't have time to get to his backside, and when he did, it almost seemed like he wasn't expecting to have the time. So now he's happy feet in the pocket and, you know, holding the ball onto the ball too long, because he's like, oh shit, I actually have a second here. But
I felt like I should have maybe apologized, because I don't know yet. I'm still not sold.
Hey, the great part is we don't got to make a decision on him right now.
He's still a fucking diva.
So that's the great part is we don't have to make the decision. We have another season before we have to make that decision, and we can see what happens next year. I think we have to make a decision on his 5th year option, though.
Yeah. This offseason, we have to pick up the 5th.
Which, I mean, if we don't, maybe it's another Garrett Bowles situation. He comes out, has 6 great games, and gets a contract. Or he comes out, looks like he did the beginning of the season and his first couple seasons, and he walks at the end of the year and goes and terrorizes teams on another team, because that's usually how it works.
Yeah.
At least for the Broncos the last 6 years. Go be great somewhere else, I guess. Shaq Barrett.
Yeah.
But enough Broncos. I think we talked enough about the Broncos coaching search and all that kind of stuff. I think we're pretty much on the same page.
What jobs would you say? So, like, just speaking of head coaching jobs vacancies that are open, like, what are your top 3?
I really think, let's see who's open right now. The Cardinals are open, Broncos are open,
Colts
are open. I think because it's those 4 that are for sure open, right? There's some others.
What was the other teams you said? You
The
said Broncos.
um, Broncos, Cardinals, Colts, and Panthers. The other one, all the
Yes.
other ones, I think are all speculation of this guy might go,
Yes.
this guy might do
Yep.
this.
Yep.
I think out of those four, I think personally, I think the Broncos are the best job.
Okay.
Just because I'm not.
James said this. James said the same.
See, I know a lot of people, I know like you, and there's a lot of other people that think the Cardinals are the kind of the premier option right now. But the thing I don't like about the Cardinals is one, I'm not sold on Kyler Murray. I don't like the attitude that he seems to have. I don't know. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Just
Mm-hmm.
from the outside looking in, it seems like he has a all about me mentality, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
To an extent, it's okay, but it seems like he's just extremely full of himself and thinks that he can win games all on his shoulders. Um, I don't like that. And the bigger part of it, though, is the history of the Cardinals. Never have done anything. I mean, outside of a Super Bowl appearance,
Yeah.
they're the losingest organization in the NFL, and the oldest. I mean, that has a lot to do with it as well. But um, I just don't think the Cardinals is a great opportunity. Just because I mean, D Hop's probably going to walk. JJ's retiring. I mean, that team is dwindling. They do have some great weapons still, even if D Hop's not there. But D Hop is D Hop, man. I mean, he makes everything go.
Yeah. But like Hollywood Brown, I'm still putting him over every Broncos receiver. Trey McBride was drafted first tight end for a reason. Dude's most talented.
Yeah, but I think I value Russ a lot higher than Kyler though, and the defense.
My my main thing is Kyler's still young. Kyler has potential to be fixed. Russ, I'm like,
That's a fact.
is he falling down? I think that's why I go that way.
See, but
Now
as we've
we have
declared though, over the last few weeks, with as far as Russ goes, I know we talked. I think 2 weeks ago we talked about it. I think Russ was a problem, but not the biggest problem.
mm-hmm,
I don't think he needs to be fixed. I think he needs to have the proper coach and system around him. So that's why I think I value Russ as that top 10 type quarterback.
mm-hmm.
When we're talking, if I'm a coach coming in right now, because I believe he's not the guy we saw this season. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's why I value. That's why I think the Broncos are more attractive because of that.
Okay.
So
Because like
I'm thinking of it as if I'm the coach.
you know, uh,
But I think the Cardinals would be. So you got the Panthers and the Colts up there still too. I think the Cardinals probably would be number two still though. With all that being said that I just said, I think they're still the number two out of those four as far as attractiveness of coaching opportunities because they do have a quarterback,
yep.
regardless of who he is, whether I think he has an attitude problem or not. They still have a quarterback that can get shit done and can help you win games. So that's why I think they would be two. I'd probably put and 3 and 4 is kind of tough with the Panthers and Colts for me. I'm kind of leaning. I'm kind of leaning Panthers because they have a good core of young players on the defensive side of the ball, and then they do have DJ Moore. They have a couple good weapons. Sorry, they have a couple good O linemen. Um, Colts have a great O line though. Michael Pittman can come around. They have a solid defense. Shit, I'm kind of hung up on the 3 and 4 for me.
I got Colts at 3, and we we talked a little bit off air about possible quarterbacks. Could you just imagine with me for just a moment,
Imagination.
Lamar Jackson and Jonathan Taylor in the same backfield?
Dude, that'd be insane.
Could you just imagine?
That would be absolutely insane. I heard a rumbling earlier about Lamar Jackson to the Lions.
Oh God.
Bro. Jamal Williams and Swift back there. Got a Monra running routes, DJ Chark. You got a very good O line. And that tight end that they have been starting since Hawkinson's been gone has been lights out.
Yep.
That
Um,
might be a great, if you're a quarterback right now hitting free agency, you might think about going over to the Lions. I think that Jared Goff is their guy though. I really think they want to stick it out with him. But Lamar
I
Jackson comes available, you don't turn that. You have to make an offer.
I think they draft a quarterback with 6.
If Lamar Jackson's available, I think the Broncos have to make an offer. I'll put it that way. They're 28 teams, 26 teams, 26 to 28 teams should be making an offer on Lamar Jackson if he's available.
28.
Yeah.
27 because Chargers are going to charge her.
26 because of the Raiders, bro. They're good.
No, the Raiders would still try to make a play.
Yeah, it'd just be the most low ball, disrespectful offer in the world.
The Chargers should, but they won't because they think Herbert's whatever. But the 3 that don't are Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. Everybody else should be putting an offer out.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I completely agree. But it is kind of sad though that we won't be seeing Lamar Jackson this weekend.
Yeah.
That does sadden me. He did. Let me pull this up here. He did post a tweet earlier today, so it's 2 parts. First part here, Lamar Jackson saying, "Thank you for everyone for your support and concerns regarding my injuries. I just want to give you all an update as I'm in the recovery process. I've suffered a PCL grade 2 sprain on the borderline of a strain 3. There is still inflammation surrounding my knee, and my knee remains unstable. I'm still in good spirits as I continue with treatment on the road to recovery. I wish I could be there with my guys more than anything, but I can't give 100% of myself to my guys and fans. I'm still hopeful I'm still hopeful we still have a chance." And he doesn't straight up say that he's not playing this weekend, but the way I read that is, hope you guys still have a chance to win.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like a slap, like he's almost giving his own little slap in the face to the organization at the end there. I hope you have a chance to win without me.
Honestly, it can be interpreted that way, and
That's the way I read it. When I first read it through, I was like, holy shit, this dude is pissed.
well, I mean, they weren't willing to pony up a contract for him, and
they have for multiple defensive players at this point. We know Roquan Smith was just signed to a big deal.
I don't know. It appears as though they think they can do it with just about anybody.
Yeah.
And
so do you think they do you think they slapped the franchise tag on him?
do I think they do?
Do you think he plays on it?
No, I don't think he plays on it. That was good. I think there's no way they don't. I don't think you can't have a former MVP and not do that.
Right.
Especially when he's 26 years old.
Yeah, he's a young quarterback. I don't think he'd be willing to play on the franchise tag whatsoever.
I don't either.
Based on his comments from this year alone.
I think it'd be a sign me or trade me. And so I could see a tag and trade. I'm trying to think of like possible.
Where does he go? That's the next part of it is, where does he go at that point? Because like we said, there should be 28 teams putting in feelers, making offers. Does he have? I don't think you get a no trade contract no trade clause in your rookie contract. They just basically send it to the highest bidder.
Um,
in theory.
Places I would like to see him. I mean, the number one place I want to see him would be the Saints.
Use our imagination here again.
Uh oh.
Could
Uh
you
oh.
imagine Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk,
What are
George
they
Kittle
trading, bro?
with Kyle Shanahan? Trey Lance. Trey Lance in a fucking next year's. I think they might have a first round pick next year. Trey Lance in a first next year. It obviously wouldn't be this upcoming draft. Maybe Trey Lance. I don't know what they have. Trey Lance, a third this year and a first next year.
Oh God. That
Big Cock Brock,
Shanahan would have so much fun.
bro. Dynasty. Straight up, this is the type of shit you do on Madden.
He would have so much fun.
Man, that would be a scary team. With that defense, they could play however they want with that defense. We've already seen it. That defense is going to hold to low scores. The offense, they can run their game. Even if they're down, they can run their game. Man, that'd be electric. That'd be awesome to watch. I won't even lie. That'd be so awesome to watch.
God,
Did I
that'd
just
be fun.
break you? Did I just break you?
I'm just imagining, like, I'm like trying to think of what defenses all time
You're
could
imagining that
stop
triple
it.
option right now. Number
You're
8
not
with
wrong.
with Christian McCaffrey back there,
Yep.
Debo Samuel running a slant, a little RPO off of it. God, there's so many things you could
No,
do in that offense.
no. On that offense, still run the triple option. You have Kyle Juszczyk as your fucking fullback.
Mm-hmm.
You have the best running quarterback of all time. You have the best fullback in the league. You have the best running back in the league. You have one of the best running wide receivers. You have the best blocking tight end in the league. You have one of the best offensive lines in the league. You have the best defense in the league. What?
Dude, that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are playing Madden right now, while everyone else is playing shoots and ladders. Fuck.
That'd be because like my fun scenario I brought up yesterday was Lamar to the Dolphins, the team of speed.
That would be incredible too.
You have Lamar, fastest quarterback. You have Raheem Mostert, fastest running back. You have Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill at wide receiver. I'm like,
See,
that's just team speed.
the 49ers thing too is like they drafted Trey Lance to be Lamar Jackson. Like
No,
a,
no,
a version of
he was more drafted to be Josh Allen
That's fair.
uh than Lamar. He he was drafted to be more of the long pass guy.
See, and I'm kind of thinking though, man, if McDermott coached Lamar his entire career,
Yeah,
I'd be willing to bet Lamar could be. I mean, why couldn't he be similar to what Josh Allen is? I think he's got the arm talent. I just don't think he's ever had any sort of weapon around him.
I mean, Hollywood Brown was a weapon. Mike Andrews is a weapon. They're obviously not Diggs, but also like the arm talent wise, Josh Allen has the strongest arm I think the league's ever seen.
No, absolutely. But I think Lamar Jackson can make all the throws.
Yeah,
he might not be able to do the rolling out to my right, flick a wrist and throw it 80 yards type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think he can make all the throws you need to make in McDermott's offense. The off schedule stuff, I mean, that's just another perk that Josh Allen has to him.
You know what? Ideally, just Send Lamar Jackson wherever Sean Payton goes. Because could you imagine Drew Brees' offense if Drew Brees could run?
All I know is someone is going to get a great quarterback. And if you, I don't, I feel like they know he can run as far as the Ravens go, and they just
Mhm.
kind of lean into that. Where I feel like there's just so much more he can do as a passer.
I mean, I just think that's Harbaugh's way of play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm saying, like, if he was coached by McDermott, I could see the Bills being just as good as they are right now with Lamar Jackson. Like I said, the off schedule stuff, as far as flicking the wrist and throwing it 80 yards, that kind of stuff isn't the same. But I think they win the same amount of games. I think they're just as talented. People are talking about them the same way right now. If he were to be drafted there, it's obviously a hypothetical scenario, and a lot of things obviously would have to be different. But you would assume Diggs still comes there, and all this, that, and the other.
Screw it. We're going all fantasy. We're going all fantasy, right? Trade him to the other purple team. Get Kirk, primetime Kirk, get him off that.
That might be a trade they would make.
Pull
Kirk in a
Lamar
first.
there. Have Dalvin Cook in the backfield with him. Have Jay Jettis.
Dude, I'd put Madison on the other side.
Yeah,
That dude can run. He runs just as hard as Cook does. I
yeah.
mean, he's not as talented as Cook, but he runs just as hard, and he is a very serviceable running back in the NFL.
Have JJ.
Got
I
JJ Thielen, KJ Osborne, Hawkinson, solid O line. Still need to shore up the defense, but you'll get there.
You're right, but there'd no longer be the curse of primetime Kirk. They might actually be able to win something.
Hey, they'd have like 2 more wins. No, man, it's intriguing. It's intriguing to see how that all plays out because I'm my in my mind, he's already out of Baltimore. He's already gone
Yeah,
in my mind.
I
Um,
yeah.
but I guess we'll see. I mean but there's another. I mean, there's quite a few good quarterbacks that are going to be free agents this year, but also another one. I mean, Derek Carr, solid
Mm,
quarterback. I think we obviously hate on him for obvious reasons. The name on the front of the jersey right here. Do it for the name on the front, baby. But we give Derek Carr his hate, but he's a solid quarterback. He's not a top 10 guy, but he's not a bottom 12 guy either. He's an average dude. He's mid. He's
yep,
he's the definition of mid.
yep.
But mid is a lot better than most, or not most, than a lot of teams have been able to do for several years or for ever, really. I mean, Bears. But um, Derek Carr, man, I know you saw this. I just want to pull it up real quick. Um, about time being the essence as far as the Raiders doing the trade. Because on February 15th, Carr is guaranteed over the next 2 seasons $40.4 million, which, as we've talked about over the last few weeks and we've seen, the Raiders can't afford just to be paying people money that aren't playing for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a hard deadline. And I think because of that deadline and because of that report came out, I think he's going to go for cheaper than what people are expecting as far as the trade goes.
Um.
Kind of like the Amari Cooper situation,
Yeah.
where people were expecting a second, third round pick, turned out to be a fifth. Yeah, I think it's going to be a similar situation to that, where people are going to expect it to be, say, a second round pick, maybe a second and 2 seconds, or maybe a second and a third, may end up being like a fourth and a sixth. And there's going to be like 10 teams out there kicking themselves, like, why the hell didn't we offer that?
Yeah. Um.
Broncos not being one of them, first of all.
There's a team that just when I see Derek Carr needs to be traded, there's a team that comes to my mind,
Who you got?
but I don't know that they can swing it because I don't know how much Matt Ryan's dead cap is.
I think it's very substantial.
Because what have they done the last few years? Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz.
Fuck, they brought in Nick Foles. They brought in like 7 or 8 guys
Like
over the last 3 years.
Derek Carr is the next Colts quarterback. He just is. I just don't know how they make it happen.
I'm sure they could find a. I mean, their GMs somehow find a way to move money and all this kind of shit.
Yeah, because
I don't know if they'll be able to because I'm pretty sure he has the cap hit of whatever that Falcons deal was, which I think is like in the 40 million range.
Yeah,
as far as his cap hit goes.
I'm
That's just a
pretty
guess
sure.
too. Don't hold me to that.
I know that's what it was last year. I don't know if it is this year too.
I might be able to find it real quick.
But that just makes too much sense to where I'm just like, it can't be that easy, right? Like it can't just be he's a Colt. Because like they make sense. Of course Washington makes a little bit of sense.
I've also heard Jets was one I was thrown out there as well. Buccaneers was thrown out there by some people as well. Saints, Panthers. There's a few teams out there that would be, I'm sure, ecstatic to have Derek Carr as their quarterback.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, we talked about it a long time ago. What is the real difference between Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins? Like, and think about how many people wanted Kirk Cousins when he was a free agent.
Right. I mean, he was highly sought after. I mean, there's a reason why he was given a fully guaranteed contract.
Yep.
You know?
So I just think that whoever gets him is going to be happy that they got him, but not overjoyed because he's probably not going to lead you to the promised land, but he'll be a very startable quarterback for you.
He will, if you're a team that's been down in the dumps, say Panthers, Jets. I know the Jets had a better season this year, but over the last several years, Jets have been bad. Derek Carr fills your stadium. If you're one of those teams. Next season, Derek Carr fills your stadium. If you bring in Derek Carr right now, you probably sell out your games next year. And
Jets could really be a problem with Derek Carr.
I think Derek Carr, man,
Derek Carr on the Jets might be the best team that Derek Carr has ever been on.
If Derek Carr has a complete team around him, there's no reason he can't make a run. At least into the playoffs a game or two.
Yeah, because I'm like saying like Breece Hall coming back and all that, like.
No, I'm saying the Jets are. I believe they are a pretty complete team outside of the quarterback position. I mean, they could use probably another weapon at wide receiver.
Yeah.
They could probably. I'm sure they have a couple holes here and there, but they are a pretty complete team. They have a solid defense. They do have weapons. Could they use a true number one receiver? Probably, but a lot of teams can use that right now.
I think Garrett Wilson has a chance to be a true number one.
For sure. They do have, like I said, they do have weapons, and they have 2 or 3 really good running backs. 3 really good running backs. They have Breece Hall, Michael Carter, and homeboy from the Jags,
Robinson.
James Robinson. Like James Robinson, I think is a starting running back in the NFL.
Yeah, I think Breece is a star. They have a star, a starter, and a serviceable backup.
Great change of pace guy. Michael Carter was what a third round draft pick.
Something like that.
I know he went after Javonte. They were teammates.
Yep.
I think it was either third or fourth round. I mean, he was a higher. I mean, he was a draft pick that you don't just throw away at
Yep.
a maybe guy.
Yep.
That's a really intriguing place for Derek Carr.
They got a good young offensive line when healthy. Their tackle's been injured for weeks.
They have a great young core. They hit on the last couple drafts.
They could use an edge rusher, but they're pretty good at just getting there with 4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
because they have the coverage on the back end right now, at least. They've been solid. They've been solid.
Quinnen's elite, so I think that's a big added boon.
That's an intriguing place for a free agent quarterback.
I think that'd be a good spot for him. But now I'm like, what about Lamar on the Jets?
Lamar is going to change an organization wherever he goes. If he goes to a team that's been losing, he's going to turn that organization around. Free agents are going to want to come play with him, which is the crazy part about Baltimore and how they haven't brought in more weapons for him. Just absolutely blows my mind.
It truly doesn't make sense because, like, think about like wide receivers that are out there every year that are available to go get. Why aren't they going to get in any of them?
Any of them. I mean, and there's numerous. I mean, there's T.Y. Hilton was just signed. Deshaun Jackson was signed a month and a half ago, ish. Yeah, I mean, but sure, those guys are at the back end of their career, but they're good receivers still.
But why aren't they in the talks for Tyreek Hill, for DeAndre Hopkins, for
exactly? Like, but you're trading away your one receiver weapon to draft a safety.
Hold up. That safety's really good.
He is. Oh, I agree. I was very high on him coming into the draft, but you just got rid of your one receiver weapon.
Yeah.
Outside of Mark Andrews, of course.
But I love Kyle Hamilton.
I just feel like that's ass backwards to do.
Yeah.
When you had 2 pretty good safeties already.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why they're not, because they have the short possession guy. Mike Andrews is very good at that.
Mm-hmm.
He's elite at that. They have plenty of speed guys at wide receiver, like Rashad Bateman when healthy makes a lot of sense of that.
Mm-hmm. I like Bateman a lot. I was huge when they drafted him. I thought they were doing the right thing by bringing in another guy to complement Marquise Brown.
Yep.
Because that was the one spot in the Ravens offense that's wide open is outside of the numbers, and that's where Bateman lives.
Yeah. I worry that they don't have a true X.
Yeah.
And like, they're available every year. Like Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill.
And it's just like you don't even hear about them in the conversation. It's one thing to lose out on the trade because you didn't offer enough, but you're not even in the conversation.
So other than JJ, who's young, and Cooper Kupp, who's kind of exploded on the scene in the past few years, name the next few have all been traded.
Mm-hmm. They've all been available. Pretty much all of them.
You can just put out feelers, go get a guy,
And honestly, McVay leaves. Stafford decides next year is his last year. Kupp might be gone too. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but he's not a true X. He's phenomenal, but he's not a true X receiver. No. I just thought about Cooper Kupp on the Chiefs and I hated it.
It made you angry.
I hated it so much.
It made me angry.
I hate it. Batman, I hope to God you're not in here.
I saw him comment at the beginning. I haven't seen him comment in a while. I don't know if he's still in here or not.
My God, I would hate that. Could you imagine Cooper Kupp
No, I don't want to think
and
about it.
Travis Kelce just finding the empty hole?
Like, bro, it's cool to think about Lamar Jackson on the 49ers, but I don't want to think about the Chiefs getting better. Let's see.
Unguardable. Why?
But man, Chiefs #1 seed again. Not again, I guess. I mean, they were a couple years back, but
So, genuine question: Jerry Jeudy on the Chiefs. How many receiving yards does he get this year?
1,400.
I don't think you're wrong, and that's the sad part. Is he didn't break 1,000?
I think it'd be 12 to 1,400, at least. Mahomes would find him.
Dude, he's
Reed would scheme him up
all the time,
and Mahomes would find him. Reed would scheme 12 plays a game to him because he is open all the time. And Reed would see that and be like, "Yo, dude, just throw it to him. Like, what are you doing? Like, he's open half a second after the snap. Like, just throw it to him. He'll get you 10 yards." And you'll just Jerry Jeudy your way down the field with Mahomes and Jeudy. Throwing Travis Kelce in there half the time. And then guess what?
I think
you want to double up Jeudy over there? Well, guess what? Smith Schuster is a great possession receiver.
Absolutely.
Oh, you want to shut him down too? Oh, Pacheco out of the backfield is going to destroy you.
Yeah.
God, I don't want to think about this, Joe. You're making me angry.
I'm good at it.
As far as the final week of the NFL season, I know you and James talked a lot about it, about week 18 yesterday and all that. One thing though, one, I know you guys talked about it. I think Rodgers is going to retire. Let's put that out there. I know I said it. I did a little bit of a blindside like week 6, that kind of about him retiring. Kind of almost happened too with him hurting his thumb and all that shit. But I kind of felt bad. I'm like, did I just kind of speak this into fruition? But anyway, Rodgers, I think he's good as gone. I thought he was gone before the game. He was just kind of making comments about like, if we win or lose, if we win, we win, we lose, we lose. He kind of just seemed like he was already checked out. So that was kind of one bit takeaway I had. I think the Lions are a problem moving forward. I think MCDC is a great coach. I think took a little bit of time at the beginning of the season, but what they did at the end of the season, I think, speaks volumes. And
I worry, man. I worry how much of a problem they can be with Goff as their quarterback.
Brought the Rams to a Super Bowl.
You're right.
And he played extremely well that entire season as well. It wasn't even like, he was carried because they still had a great defense.
Carson Wentz was like on pace to be an MVP at one point.
Yeah, that's true.
Things changed. He was also
Goff had a great season though.
He was also traded. They had to give up a first round pick in order to trade him.
Yeah. I'll say this. If Goff plays the way he did this year, moving forward for the Lions, they will be playoff contenders every single year. And depending on matchups, how Goff shows up and the team shows up, might be able to win a game or two.
Yeah, I was more like going like, do they actually stand a chance at a Super Bowl with Goff as their quarterback? I don't think so.
I don't think Goff makes them Super Bowl contenders. But I don't know if you can really ask for that at this point if you're the Lions. I mean, obviously every year you're trying to win a Super Bowl, but you can kind of step your way towards it. And then
Yeah.
say in 2 years, some free agent quarterback opens up and you bring him in, and then your team's ready at that point.
This is true, but also they have pick 6 and pick 18, and the number 1 pick team is not drafting a quarterback.
Number 2 is, though, most likely.
You're right. But
That's
what I'm
why,
saying is you have pick 6 and pick 18 to package together to move up to get the number 1 quarterback on your board.
If you're going to do it, this year is the year to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why, did you see all the people talking crap about the Texans and them dropping down to number 2? I'm like, yeah, I know Lovie Smith was smacking him in the face, but nothing changed. The picks that were going to happen 1 and 2 are just going to be flipped now. If there's no trades, I don't think they were ever drafting a quarterback. I think Houston was always drafting a quarterback. So nothing changed besides the fact that they can be jumped now. That's the only thing that changed, is someone can jump into number 1 and take their guy.
Lovey's thing is,
which I told you guys, Lovie Smith would not tank. That's why they were my underdog last week.
But also
had to pat myself in the back there a little bit.
There you go, Bob. But Lovie Smith, they're going to draft a quarterback. They're going to want a young offensive guru to go with him. So Lovie saw the writing on the wall, So what bigger FU could he do than to give the only team that was ever loyal to him the number 1 overall pick?
That's just awesome, man. This is just awesome. I want Lovie Smith as our head coach.
What more
if you're doing shit like that, you're a dog, first of all, and I want you.
He went out and he gave the team that was loyal to him the number 1 overall pick by winning that game, and set them up for the future, because that pick's getting traded, and it's going to get them. They're going to move down a few spots, get a stud defensive player,
probably another first,
and
for next season,
probably 2 more.
At least one. They're gonna at least get 1 more for next season. Plus, they'll still have one this year. From whoever trades up.
Trey went for 3, and Trey was a 3rd.
That's true. That is very true. It might be 3 first rounders.
Trey went for 3.
The Bears, bad.
Lovie Smith helping out the Bears.
If they do this, and they're able to acquire, say, including,
let's just say 6, 18 in next year's first. They got to have the Rams first.
If they hit, I'm guessing there's going to be a 2 seconds involved in there as well. And if they hit on those draft picks, they can be 4 or 5 years, man. That could be a team.
You could get a stud defensive player, pick 18, get a stud wide receiver.
Although I've heard they're not counting. They're not totally out of the quarterback market at number 1.
They're either trading Justin Fields or that pick.
Which I've heard a lot of Vikings fans on Twitter say, if they trade or if they draft quarterback at number 1, you call the Bears and offer your first round pick for Fields immediately.
Vikings fans?
I saw about 6 or 7 of them, Vikings fans. Most of them are
why would the Bears
creators.
do that? Why would the Bears do that?
The Bears would not. The Bears wouldn't. I'm saying it's obviously a pipe dream from Vikings fans.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Justin Fields is definitely dynamic. I just don't know if he's gonna get you there as a passer.
I mean, he has arm talent, like we said about Lamar.
He does. And
he has a far worse team than Lamar has had his entire career.
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly.
That Bears offense is horrendous, man. His best weapon's Cole Kmet. And Cole Kmet is the 12th best tight end in the league.
I can't believe the Steelers have picked 33 for Chase Claypool. That is insane, man.
Yeah,
Basically a late first rounder for Chase Claypool.
yeah,
Bad move, I think. Bad move.
yeah,
Unless you're a better wide receiver, then it's a good move because your market just skyrocketed.
yeah. I don't know. The Bears are bad, man. I think Justin Fields is fine. I think
I do too. I'm not. We just haven't seen it yet from him. We've seen here and there. We've seen him make some good plays with his arm, but they also, after like game 3, they stopped. They started just scheming him to run most of the time.
well, he went and told them.
Well, and they won some games.
He went and told them, and I'm like,
Initially, they won some games.
he went and told them, and that's why I'm like, dude's got the fire. He's like, he wants to put his body on the line to win. Like,
Yeah, he just wants to win. He wants to do whatever he can to win.
I like
respect that too.
I think dude's got some potential. I'd rather trade the pick. If I was the Bears, I would rather trade the pick because
Especially
I at least know the personality of the guy.
Especially if you move down, say 4 or 5 spots, and you end up gaining 2 or 3 more first round draft picks. Like,
yeah, like you. Okay, I love the Lions. I love the Lions and the potential they have, but full honesty, pick 6, pick 18, and would you be surprised if the Lions next year got a top 5 pick?
No, would not surprise me.
You would have 3 top 20 picks for that pick. Yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
And like the Lions could still have Goff. I don't know what quarterback, like Bryce Young, whoever it is, doesn't really matter. Have Goff start. Have Young watch under him like Patrick Mahomes did for the most of the first year,
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year you move on from Goff and you're golden because you got DeAndre Swift, Jamal Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
They're all young. That's the thing. They're all young. Most of them are young. I think Jamal Williams might be in his late 20s.
Jameson Williams,
who didn't even play all year, most of the year.
He'll be healthy. Like you have this outstanding young offensive line.
And then Jameson Williams, better. His first game he comes back, dude, just catching bombs.
Yes, like that is what the Lions need to do. I understand. Jared Goff did really well this year for you guys. Please don't mess it up. I want so badly for the Lions to be good. They deserve it.
I would love for the Lions to run the North. I would love it.
They deserve it more than any team in the league.
The NFC North runs through Ford Field, baby.
Give the Lions a superstar quarterback. Please.
Dude, please. I really want Lamar to go there. Like, I really want Lamar to go to Detroit.
Please.
Give up the 6 and the 18 for Lamar. Yeah. Dude. Give up the 6 and 18 for Lamar or number 1. One of the two, go figure your shit out. Let's go win some bowls, baby.
Yeah, but then I wonder, like, what's Jared Goff's dead cap? Because then you got to pay Lamar.
Just keep him around. Just keep him.
Yeah, but you have to pay Lamar.
Right. I don't know.
So that becomes a whole complicated thing there. So that's why, like, my brain goes, just get the rookie quarterback. Whether it's Alabama, whether it's the Ohio State guy, who cares? Just go get one of them. And
see, he's due $30 million in 2023. Let me get rid of this ad here. Cap hits $30 million this year and next year, and then he's a free agent after next year, after 2024.
Okay.
So I mean, that dead cap's only. They can get rid of him, bro. His dead cap is $10 million this year and $5 million next year.
Okay. Yep. Trade for Lamar.
Gone.
Trade for Lamar. I understand Jared Goff did great for you guys. Trade for Lamar. I want to see the Lions win the Super Bowl next year.
That'd be awesome, man. That'd be so awesome.
Could you imagine how TikTok would go crazy? Could you imagine?
Dude, they're just the Lions TikTok page itself. Like I couldn't imagine. I'm just imagining the content they would come up with.
They'd be going crazy. It'd be so fun.
Well, but speaking of road to the playoffs, I'm gonna try something new here. Let's check this out.
Whoa!
Whoa! Look at us moving up in the world. We've got picture in picture, baby. Let's go. We've got our full 2023 NFL playoffs. Graphic provided by NESN, Nesson. Not sure how to pronounce it. I apologize. Appreciate the graphic though. I know you and James went through all these games yesterday.
Yeah, but we need your picks.
Don't have my picks yet, so I'm going to go through the games. If you want to throw your picks in once again as well, just to remind no one. No one's watching. But if you want to throw your picks in there too, that'd be sweet. I'm just gonna run through AFC and then NFC just left to right here.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what days the games are, but that's irrelevant. First game on here is the number 4 seed Jaguars taking on the number 5 seed Chargers. Chargers gonna Charger, baby. Give me the
There
Jags.
we go. There we go.
Jags on top on that one. I don't believe in the Chargers. I'm a Broncos fan, of course. I've watched the Chargers for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
They either find a way to barely miss the playoffs, or they find a way to lose to a team they have no business losing to in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Give me the Jags. Jags all day.
Yep.
All right, so next game here, we've got the Bengals taking on the Ravens. We already talked. Lamar Jackson's not going to be playing. Tyler Huntley seems like he is going to be the starter. He's been practicing. I think regardless, even if Lamar starts somehow, I think the Bengals win this game.
Yeah, I think it would be close if Lamar would play and the Bengals would win.
Mm-hmm.
Without Lamar, I just don't know what chance they stand.
Exactly. I don't believe in the Ravens without him at all.
Yep.
So next game up, I mean, another easy game to call for me. Tua's not playing in the Dolphins game. I just don't think what's his name, Skylar Thompson.
Yep.
I don't think he's a bad quarterback by any means, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to go win you a playoff game against the Bills. Give me the Bills by 21.
He went 21. I went Bills by 20. Love it.
Me and Jimmy were on TikTok live earlier, and I gave him a score. It was 35-14 was the score I gave.
Okay.
So like, give me 21.
There we go.
And then last year when I did the playoffs, I did the first round, kind of like we are now in a video on TikTok. And the graphic was set up similarly where you have your first round buys right next to each other. And I actually had someone comment on the video saying, who do you have, Chiefs versus Eagles? You know, whoever the ones were last year. I'm like, dude, are you serious? But anyways, on to the NFC side. I'm going to start at the bottom on this one and work our way up.
Okay.
So starting
I have
with
something to say after you make your pick here on this one then.
Okay, so we're going to start here with the San Francisco 49ers playing at home against the Seattle Seahawks. And I think Big Cock Brock is going to be slinging it all over the field, both the football and you know what else I'm talking about. Give me the 49ers.
All right. So something I kind of was thinking about a little bit today. If the 49ers can pull it off, is Brock Purdy truly the next Tom Brady?
Yes.
Came in for an injured quarterback to a very good overall team.
At least the first chapter. He's at least the first chapter of Tom Brady.
Is he the next Tom Brady? Is he the
His last name has a Y at the end? It would make sense.
Is he a better version too? Because he was absolutely Mr. Irrelevant pick.
100%. 100%. No, I think he is, man.
James commented.
And I think he's already secured himself a job for next year.
Yeah.
Is James in there in the comments right now?
Yeah.
He
Jimmy
said
just
Bills by
posted
20.
on there. Yeah.
That's man.
Yeah, I mean, man, it is unreal what Kyle Shanahan's able to get out of quarterbacks.
Nick Mullins.
Year in and year out.
Just a random injury. Pick a quarterback up off the street, and he's going to make him look like an all-pro. It's insane.
Next game up here, we've got the Vikings playing at home against the Giants. I know you guys said this yesterday about this being, maybe Jimmy just said it, about this being the fraud game, the fraud bowl.
Jimmy most definitely said that.
Yeah. Man, I've been pulling for the Vikings all year. I think the Giants are moving in the right direction. I don't see them having, and it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game, but give me the Vikings, I guess.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked James when we were talking about this game. Who's the best player on the Giants?
Barkley.
Where does he rank as far, if he was on the Vikings, where does he rank as far as best players?
5, 4.
How is this even a conversation then?
Somewhere around there. I mean, you got Jay Jettas. You got, I think Cook and Barkley are probably right around the same level.
I think Cook is a little bit better. I think Danielle Hunter is better.
Probably 4, 3 or 4, probably right around there.
Harrison Smith is around the same level with him getting older and losing a step. So, like, how is it even close that people are like the Giants? I'm like, could the Giants shock people? Yeah, the Giants shock people all the time.
I don't know if it's necessarily the Giants or why people are back and forth on it. I think it's the performances the Vikings have put up the last few weeks of the season.
Yeah, but like,
I think that's where people are coming from on it. That's, in my mind, that's where I'm coming from it. Of like, I know the Vikings are better, but will they show up?
If the Broncos were the 3 seed in the NFC playing the Giants, I'm picking the Broncos.
Let's go. Me too, because I pick them every week.
But like, I only pick the Broncos when they're playing the Chargers or the Raiders. Like, realistically, if the Giants and the Broncos are playing, I'm picking the Broncos. That's how low I think of the Giants.
Yeah, I do think they're moving in the right direction as far as the Giants are concerned. Dable's a good coach. He's gotten a lot out of his players this year, and it's only going to get better because he's going to be bringing in better players, over the years. So I think they're moving in the right direction. They've got a bright future as of right now. I'm not sold on Danny Dimes, but he didn't play bad this season by any means. Didn't blow it up by any means either, but
yeah,
he played all right. Anyways, last game of Super Wild Card Weekend. I forgot to put this graphic on there. My bad. Now you can't see the games though. Let me get rid of that. But this is a game I still haven't quite made a decision on, being the Buccaneers taking on the Cowboys at home. I'm leaning away. I'm leaning in a direction because here's where I'm at. You got the Cowboys, clearly a better team, better roster, more talent. I don't know if I'd say probably have a little bit more talent. Buccaneers do have a lot of talent on their roster still. But they haven't played like it this season. Been really banged up. Cowboys have a better defense. But, man, I counted Tom Brady out. Basically from 2013 to 2017. And in that time, that man won 2 Super Bowls. I was wrong a lot. Give me the Buccaneers. I'm not making a mistake. If I do, kudos to the Cowboys, because you're probably going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably.
But I can't count Tom Brady out ever, especially with how him and Mike Evans been looking at the last couple games and absolutely lighting up the scoreboard, those two guys. So hesitantly, give me the Buccaneers. But if the Cowboys were playing any other game this weekend on the NFC side, there's no doubt in my mind they win that game. If they're playing the Vikings, the Giants, the 49ers, or the Seahawks,
I don't know on the 49ers.
I think they pull it out, man.
Yeah, yes. Yesterday, no, because I think if they beat Tom Brady,
Are the Cowboys playing the Bucks or the Packers?
um, but I think San Fran would beat them if they were matched up this week. But I think if they beat Tom Brady, they will be on a high that will not be stopped by any of the teams in the NFC.
Yeah,
If,
I
if
think
you,
I think they probably go to the Super Bowl if they win this game, and then they lose to whoever's playing out of the AFC
correct, they lose to either the Chiefs, the Bills, or the Bengals.
or the Jags.
No. They
Too
lose to
far? Is that too far?
they the Jags are matching up against the Chiefs next week, and it's just going to be horrendous.
Yeah, so I mean, are we completely in agreement on wild card weekend?
Me and you are, yes.
That's a good sign because you took first place in our overall record on the season. So. I'll take
Me and
it.
you are, yes.
We don't even have to review the beginning of the season because you were up like I think it was like 6 games by the end of it on me, which means you're up by like 10 games on Jimmy.
Let's go.
So I don't think the beginning of the season really matters. I think you
It's
took the
all,
dub on this year.
it's all right. Now we're in postseason
It's a
era,
new season.
and me and Jimmy will be tied in the postseason no matter what happens this week.
Yep. No matter what, we're gonna have the same record, and Jimmy's either gonna be
Above us or below
above
us,
us or below us
or
by
tied, because
by 1 game, right? It's just the Giants Vikings game. Or no,
no,
he took the Cowboys too.
he picked the Cowboys.
So he's either gonna be in front of us by a game or two, or behind us by a game or two. Probably
Or
behind us 2 games.
or we picked one of those wrong and he picked one of those right.
No, he's gonna be behind us 2 games. We know how this season goes.
Yeah. Yeah. He picked the Giants to curse them, so the Vikings win.
Yeah, James, I took Bills by 21, 35-14.
But I don't know.
Oh, you know what, dude? Dude, we almost really messed up.
What's that?
First of all, let's get back into over here. We almost didn't do our
Baseball
favorite segment.
sucks.
Our favorite segment. Baseball sucks. Baseball sucks.
sucks.
Baseball sucks.
sucks.
And that's our daily obligation or weekly obligation to talk about baseball.
I talked about it twice this week because I said baseball sucks multiple times.
It's like being on ESPN. You know, you're obligated one thing and one thing only. You must bring the Cowboys up once in conversation.
or LeBron.
Or LeBron. Yes, you're right. You know, 2 things. You got 2 things on your agenda. Talk about anything else, but these have to be what you're talking about.
And or Braun.
James, you must have missed our 5 seconds of Joe. We hit that one pretty early.
Small chub and I only last 5 seconds. Pretty great.
Great for you. Hey, one of us always wins. We can't all be winners.
Hell.
All right, let's see. Anything else you got for
Nah, I've just been really thinking about that Brock Purdy thing today. I was like, is Brock Purdy just going to be the next Tom Brady?
Did you guys talk about the quick Damar Hamlin update yesterday?
Yeah.
About him basically being himself
Yep.
to some capacity.
Yep.
which is
Which
awesome to hear.
it's great to hear. It's truly amazing.
I mean,
I need to look at what is it, Quay or Quez Watkins did for the Packers, because people are talking about that.
Quay was one of
Walker,
their draft picks. Yeah, Walker, I think. So
number 7.
I watched that live. I kind of fill you in. Obviously you watch it for yourself as well. But essentially what happened was it DeAndre Swift? He played at Georgia, right? It was Swift, I
Yes.
believe, that was down on the field. And
Okay, yeah.
Walker was a teammate as well as another guy. It looked like they were trying to check in on him. Trainer came running in, as trainers do, shuffling around trying to get to the injured player, get out of my way type of thing. And he didn't like it, and he turned to the guy and just pushed him. Clearly didn't push him with all he had as an NFL player. That trainer would have gone flying. I mean, he gave him like a get off me type of push, quick little jab to the back. Completely uncalled for. Absolutely no reason to be doing that at all. I understand you're trying to check on your teammate, but the only person that could really help your teammate, you're pushing in the back and causing problems with, as far as a trainer. But then the second part of it was they showed on the broadcast him walking down the tunnel afterwards, and he's just like talking to himself, ripping his helmet off, hitting the wall. Just a really, really bad look of just very unsportsmanlike. It was just a really bad look for him. Hey, look what we got. We got a special guest.
I just wanted to do this just to say that you guys can't say that I missed the entire episode. I've been on every episode. I'm the only.
What was that?
You should have just not
I'm
invited
still
him.
here, baby. I'm still here.
So-
Well, what? What was that? Chaos. Let's go.
Oh
Get
man,
outta
where'd
here.
Joe go?
Let's go. There's 5 seconds of James. Let's take over.
But Joe, I can't just not invite him. He's on the account, so he could just sign in.
Change the password.
There's no password. It's just an email thing. There might be a password, but every time I go to log in, it just
I made the email.
Right. He could get me out of the email. I can't. I'm out of control. I have no control in this.
I get the emails like when he's trying to like do the security code or whatever. I get those emails.
This messed up.
Yeah, I figure that every time I sign in, I'm like, I wonder if James just saw that I'm signing in right now. Yeah, it's a good episode without you. I'm glad you weren't here.
If I was here, I'm pretty sure of the hour and a half, like 45 minutes, was you guys talking about the Broncos.
That is pretty true. We did talk about it for about a half hour. But we talked about the coaching search.
Yeah. I was trying to bring it up in more terms of coaching searches.
Relevant news.
Which I stood by my fact that I still think Arizona is the best coaching job available.
Bills by 22, just to outdo you guys.
You guys just keep changing your pick. This is why you are the fraud.
No, so this way it's 20, 21, 22.
Now they're gonna lose because you're Mr. Jinxie Cat.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So if the Chiefs lose and the Bills lose, and the Bengals lose, and then the Cowboys beat the Bucks.
Wait, you have the Chiefs losing this
Bowls,
weekend?
right?
That's what I'm predicting. Yes.
Well, no,
if
that's
all
what I'm
those teams lose, and the Cowboys win their game, yes, I'm projecting the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
It will be a Cowboys versus Jags Super Bowl.
If
Jags
my mom
20,
had
baby.
a penis, she'd be my dad.
Would she though? I mean, it's 2023, bro.
But that's the joke, is me saying if that happens.
Are you assuming her identity?
I'm not assuming my mom's identity. I'm pretty sure I know my mom's identity.
You should ask her, but Bob, what do you identify as?
Should probably slap the hair back onto him.
Honestly, yeah. Valid.
But yeah, what we were talking about before, I don't know if I'm I don't care if I'm
The
pointing the right way.
takeover.
Before the takeover of James over here, is it Quay Walker?
I think it's Quay.
We were talking briefly about
Because it's
kind of
Quez
what happened.
Watkins is the wide receiver.
Yeah, about him pushing the trainer in the back, and then the video of him walking down the tunnel back to the locker room and all that. That's what we're briefly kind of talking about
The
with Packers. Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Now it's just completely just uncalled for. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to do that ever. I mean, I've never seen that happen in my life. A player pushing a trainer like that. And if there's 1 week, especially, that you should not be doing that because trainers are like the number one thing in the news, is this week. Like, you shouldn't ever do it, but like it's especially in the limelight right now.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you shouldn't ever do it, and I understand getting ejected and fined and everything, but I also understand the human element. If you see a dear friend down and all of a sudden you're getting pushed, I understand pushing back. Like, I understand it from a personal, but like I also understand actions have consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
Because
that's why I led up with the whole point of it was DeAndre Swift on the ground. It was a teammate. It looked like he was concerned over his former teammate's health. But it's just, I mean, there's never a situation where you should be doing that. But
yeah,
I think the worst of the look is walking down the tunnel afterwards, and it almost seemed like he was saying like a why me type of thing. Almost woe is me. Blaming everyone else around.
He could have just been also mad at himself that
Could have been. There was never any clarification. I don't think if he has said anything, I haven't seen it personally.
Yep.
About what he was saying or what was going on. Me in that situation, I know I would be very pissed off at myself.
Yep.
If I were to put the shoes on. I pushed that as that other one popped up. I'm put that one out there. I was trying to mute you. So Jimmy tells me earlier, I tried to ignore the comments so we don't get into random conversations on here, and then he joins the podcast 5 minutes before it's over and just starts going through all the comments.
I saw those earlier. That's when I was in here. That's why.
Were you trying to click on them from your phone? Like, why wouldn't it pop up?
No. It looks a lot different, obviously, from YouTube.
Well, yeah.
Does Joe want 5 more seconds of Joe?
No. Joe is trying to stay awake.
I was actually in bed, and I was like, "Oh, they're getting off. I better pop on before they can say I didn't complete the pod." So I was here.
Well, you completed it yesterday, so I mean,
I know, but
you did your obligation.
I'm here.
But yeah, I think that's just about it. I mean, anything else you guys wanted to? I know you just got here, but anything else you guys wanted to talk about?
For the first time ever, we're all wearing football jerseys.
No, we did the first couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
First couple weeks of the season.
This is the first time you're wearing that jersey.
I think our first couple live shows like this.
We literally had that segment jerseys. Where we were laughing at him for wearing the Judy jersey.
It was so perfect that I wore it that day.
I was wearing my customized one. Oh, that's what it was.
You didn't hear Joe gave an apology earlier. I don't know if you heard that.
They did.
This guy right here.
Oh, because
I apologize. Said I may have spoke too soon.
Maybe it's still a maybe. It's still a maybe.
May have spoke too soon on him being the most overrated player ever.
But Joe,
Asta.